Hi, my behavior change project consisted of seeking to increase compliant behavior of a 5-year-old boy diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder during discrete trial training sessions while at a table one-on-one with his therapist. The trials took place at a clinic with his therapist at a table, as said, where the table had a 10-piece token board and normal SD cards with pictures of known origin, so things that are not to be acquired. So compliant behavior in this case would include remaining in his seat, and answering the question or the SD quickly, and non-compliant behavior would consist of any sort of elopement from the table, any sort of property destruction, which would include for us, like, throwing the cards off of the table or throwing the candy off of the table against the wall, anything along those lines. Nothing super destructive, though. He would also stare off into space or turn around in his seat, anything that to just not comply with the demand in place. So with this procedure, what we did is implemented what we term a NECRC, which is no error correction response cost procedure. So with this, we would present, like I said, known SDs. So what is it? We know he knows it's a cat. Match this. We know that he can match cat to cat, something simple. And from there, we would have 3 cups on the table in which, if he complied with the SD and answered it correctly and quickly, he would receive an edible in the cup, and then 3 in a row, he would immediately get all 3 candies. We would do a preference assessment prior to the edible being placed, so prior to the table work. And what would happen is if he got, like I said, if he got all 3 questions or SDs in a row, he would receive those edibles. However, if he was non-compliant with one of those SDs, so took longer than 3 to 5 seconds to respond to the SD or engaged in any sort of problem behavior, he would immediately lose either one or two of those candies, whatever happened to be in the cup or cups at that time. So what we saw is during baseline, his compliance level was in the teens, so very low compliant behavior for while at the table, while answering questions and engaging in demands. However, when we use an ABAB design, or I use an ABAB design, and when the NECRC procedure was introduced during the first intervention phase, we actually very quickly saw increase in compliant behavior. So first day of intervention, it was only about 20%, as he was, I suppose, gaining understanding of the contingency that if I answer the question quickly, therefore I get the edible, which, however, by the second day, it was up to 67%, the third day at 94%, and then 92%, and then 95%. So we quickly saw an increase in compliant behavior, and it remained stable for those last 3 days. During the return to baseline phase, it actually saw a gradual decrease of starting at 56% without using the NECRC procedure, and then quickly going down to 13% by the 5th day. However, with reintroduction, we saw an increase in compliant behavior again, up in the 90s. So using this procedure, he was very quickly able to understand the contingency of compliant behavior, and answering the SDs appropriately allowed him to receive the reinforcement available, whatever edible it was that he had chosen at that time. Now, what we are going to be doing in the future is, now that we have gained compliance at the table, we're going to be fading out the NECRC procedure and fading in the token board, making it a CMOT so that he's motivated by tokens instead of just by those cups, and receiving the edibles immediately. So we have a procedure lined up for that, and I'm really excited to be able to start fading out this NECRC procedure, and hopefully see a remaining compliant level with him as we fade out this procedure and make it a little bit more natural. So thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, please let me know.